Hey mi gente, it's Julian Steve. You guys already know my name, but if you are new here, hey! Today we're going to talk about AAVE, aka African American Vernacular English. In this video, I'm going to talk about what is AAVE. I'm also going to be talking about how I feel when non-black people use it obsessively and or use it the wrong way. Yes, we are going to talk about this today, right now. African American Vernacular English is usually called Ebonics outside of the academic community. Now, we're going to continue. Whenever you hear black people, specifically black Americans speaking AAVE, the language has US and Caribbean combinations. Some scholars contend that AAVE developed out of the contact between speakers of West African languages and speakers of vernacular English varieties. According to Jack Sandell's article on African American Vernacular English, he also implied that West Africans starting off in the plantations would have limited access to English grammatical models because the number of native speakers was rare to hear. Usually, the servants knew native English. If you was a slave working outside of the fields, you usually do not get enough access to education, enough access to learning proper English. They would have to speak in AAVE, whereas the ones that lived in the house and stayed in the house interact with white people, they would be inside and they would be learning proper English. Ultimately, the West Africans started to learn the English language as a second language. Learning a new language is not easy, which led to AAVE's existence.
And its dialect that found it necessary for research and studies to show and prove that when black people speak it, it doesn't mean we're stupid. Therefore, AAVE deserves respect. There's rules, there's order, there's structure. Non-black people may be flippantly using it now, but native speakers know when others are using broken AAVE, as non-black people may not have been immersed in this language.
English as a second language for numerous people that are not native speakers of English, it's not easy. Imagine these people, specifically these black people, coming from one place to another, and then you have to learn and adapt to a different language, a different culture. This affects you. When people make fun of you for the way you speak, that also plays a factor on how you feel as a person. I cannot imagine how much work these African Americans that came from one place in Africa to the US, learning this language and trying to adapt to it, and then also speaking AAVE so that way they could talk amongst each other and feel comfortable. I'm going to say this right here, right now. I am not the spokesperson of everyone who is black and or mixed with black. There are going to be some people who are going to agree with me. There are going to be some people who are not going to agree with me, and they are black and or mixed with black. But when it comes to certain things, I do think we black and mixed with black people, we need to come to a connective and be like, okay, this is right. We gotta stop doing this, this, and this. Now, when some of my friends use AAVE, I'm gonna start off with the ones that use it correctly. When my non-black friends use AAVE correctly, I do not mind that much. But remember, that's me. I'm not every black person. When I hear my friends who are not black and they use AAVE properly, I don't get that mad, but at the same time I do get uncomfortable sometimes, because it's like I'm not using AAVE but you're using it in front of me. Me personally, if you use it correctly, I maybe do not care that much, but at the same time I do, because I already know the history about AAVE, and as a person who is technically African American, even though if you are new to this channel, I might as well just tell you, but everyone else already knows this. My parents are not from this country. Both of my parents are from Honduras, but I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York City, of course, if you do not know that. And I grew up amongst specifically African Americans. I grew up with different types of cultures. I grew up with a bunch of people, of course. When it comes to African Americans and or black people in the diaspora who use AAVE, I see that we get crucified more, especially when it comes to school. Because when I went to school, they would tell me, my teachers, that this is not proper English. And I remember a few of my teachers, they didn't directly say that we were acting ghetto, but they did tell us that this is not how you speak English. When I was in high school, my teachers, they would correct me when we used AAVE. And the funny thing is, I'm gonna be honest, I don't use AAVE too much, but now when I think about, I technically did certain times, but I didn't notice it. When you see AAVE, I've noticed the list of words that are examples, and I noticed that certain words I used it before in AAVE, but I didn't notice it because I felt like I was just using it. But then when I think about it, I remember certain people that I knew during my time, specifically in high school, non-black people, not all, some of them when I was in high school, they used to make fun of me when I used to speak in AAVE. I didn't care, but when you think about it, some of them were making fun of me. Even if they weren't, I hope, but you may never know anyone's intentions.
What even is a black scent? Well, my humble commenter, let me tell you. The phrase black scent is a pejorative. It's usually reserved for non-black people who appear to be doing an imitation of AAVE, or African American Vernacular English, without knowing any of the rules and the ways of the language, while employing mannerisms and using speech inflections typically associated with stereotypes of blackness.
Which is why, in a way, I do get why certain black and mixed with black people do have an issue when non-black people use AAVE. As of now that I'm in college, I hope my friends don't make fun of me, but for what I've seen, nobody hasn't. And that's because, like I said, I don't really use AAVE. And if I do, it's rare.
One little bit of advice. You see that rainbow part?
Whether you're white, black, purple, green, blue, it doesn't matter.
Kill that. I break out in hives every single time a white person starts talking about the contrast between the white and black experience, and they feel the need to start listing off every color of the rainbow. That's just, like, you might as well just go ahead and put 3 Ks at the beginning of your username. It is so unnecessary.
And you know what's crazy? I don't even use AAVE with my black and mixed with black friends too. So it's kind of a slippery slope for me talking about this topic. Now, the non-black people who use it incorrectly, we need to talk. I do not like it when non-black people use AAVE incorrectly because it makes me cringe. I'm just being honest. There are certain times where AAVE is not necessary in a sentence, but where specifically non-black people would put those AAVE words in these sentences, and it does not make sense within the sentence. With the rise of TikTok, AAVE has been profited and also taken advantage of, which is why numerous friends of mine who are non-black speak in AAVE.
The reason why it pisses me off, and I feel like this kind of goes without saying, y'all don't even be saying the shit right, child. Y'all just be saying anything. Just be putting a bunch of words together. Y'all don't even make no sense. For me, that's probably the biggest one. You know, why I get so pissed off when I hear white people using AAVE.
I do not have an issue when non-black people use AAVE correctly, and it's not in a way that they try to make fun of black people and or mix with black people. My issue is when you are making fun of black and or mixed with black people using AAVE, profiting out of AAVE, claiming that your culture created it even though you guys didn't create shit, or trying to like pretend that this did not start it out thanks to African American people. That is where I have an issue. If you are black and or mixed with black, you could use AAVE because you're black or mixed with black. If you do not know how to, you're going to have to learn from the internet, specifically from black people and or mixed with black people from the internet who do know how to use AAVE properly, and or even just watch videos of black and or mixed with black people, try to learn from them. If you are non-black and you're using AAVE wrong, you need to stop. That's the best way to say it. You need to stop. If you want to learn how to use proper AAVE, read, research, and then think whether or not you should use it.
No black person can grant you permission on behalf of all black people to do a problematic thing. Not me, not your black boyfriend, not your black teammates, not even Beyonce.
There are, on average, there's about, I think, 40 million African Americans in the United States. I will have to make another video one day about whether or not I feel comfortable identifying as African American. If you guys want me to, we could make a video. I mean, I can make a video about it if you want me to. Thank you if you made it this far in this video. I appreciate you. Tell me what do you think about this video. Tell me what you learned about AAVE. If you're not black and or mixed with black, please research about AAVE and then you decide whether or not you should be using it. Do you have a problem with non-black people using AAVE? Tell me in the comments. Tell me, black and or mixed with black people. Thank you and